Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife video for you, and this is going to be a good one, guys. This is my full review and discussion of the Boos Blades Smoke. Really nice knife, and this is going to be a pretty positive review, so you can kind of be expecting that. Let me first say this is of course a William Boos design. It is built very well by WE Knives, and there was some really good effort put into research and development on this one. Once the initial design was done, I know there was some tweaks made. There's a whole Nick Shabazz video about that you may want to check out, and this is a great example of what can be done with a great design and extremely high quality manufacturing. So really well done in terms of bringing this knife into being. Pretty excited about that. Now, if you want one of these, the way that you had to get them was to pre-order them through William Boos, and he is considering doing another run. So if you really want one of these, follow him on social media. Go over to his website and sign up for, I think he has email notifications, and you'll be able to find out when that next run is. And he's, by his own admission, I did message him about this. He said, if there's enough interest, I'm kind of gauging interest, and if there's enough interest, I'll definitely do another run. And you know what, I've got to say, I think there's definitely going to be enough interest. There's almost enough people who've contacted me about it to create enough interest, okay? So I don't think there's going to be any issue. If you really want one of these, there should be more coming, but you will have to get on that pre-order list. Okay, that's kind of how that works. So let's go ahead and get into the review itself, beginning with size and weight, the way that we always do. Now, this knife is a little bit smaller for me, especially. This is 8 inches overall. Normally, I like knives that are closer to 8.5 inches, but this one does pretty good. And it was honestly a bit of a surprise that I liked this knife as much as I did. In all honesty, there was some part of me that thought, I think I'm just going to get this for the review, but I have absolutely loved it. And I really think this is a great example of what a high-end folding knife can and should be. Now, it definitely emphasizes the EDC end of things more so than the hard use or survival or tactical or anything like that. But it does a great job at what it's meant for. The blade length on this guy is about 3.5. It's actually just under 3.5 inches, a little more than 3 7/16, but a little less than 3.5. 4.5 inches on the handle. Now, that is measured to here. So you can see the flipper tab adds about 1/8 of an inch to that length, which is kind of negligible. And in my mind, not really worth paying close attention to, okay? And the weight. The weight on this, guys, is only 2.8 ounces. 2.8 ounces is just phenomenal. So carries so comfortably. This is one of the few titanium frame locks I've ever seen that you can carry like in a pair of track pants. It's just super light, absolutely disappears in pocket. So from a carry standpoint, an EDC blade, yes, total win. You can carry this and literally not even know that you have a knife with you. And yet when you do need it, it's definitely big enough to give you a nice full hand and lots of blade length for just about any EDC cutting task you could think to have to deal with. All right, now take a look at that stonewashed blade, S35 VN on there, full flat grind. Blade stock here is about 150 something, about 157 thousandths. Really nice and thin behind the edge at 20 thousandths, so that's really nice. Slices wonderfully. If you do use your EDC blade for some kitchen work, this is going to be really nice for that. I rarely do that, to be honest, but it is nice to have a knife that can slice really well. Let's see, what else we need to say about this blade? Not a whole lot. I mean, it's nicely finished. I like the stonewash. I guess I should say this. Often you've heard me complain about stonewash. I don't always love it, but I think in this design it really works. And that's one of the things that's going to be a bit of a theme here. This is a really well designed knife, both aesthetically and from a construction and ergonomic standpoint. There are not too many things that are missed here, and certainly the look is one of the things that's really well done. So yeah, the blade I think is a total win. I guess one last note, the cutout here is both attractive and functional. This is a knife that I think looks great, open and closed. The cutout serves to give you a way to get your thumb in there, or to spidey flick the knife. I can sort of get the fat of my middle finger in there and give it a flick. we're almost kind of talking about deployment now, but I just wanted to point out from a design and function standpoint that the blade cutout is well done. And so let's move on to that action, that lockup and deployment. Of course, this is a titanium frame lock. You can tell that just by looking at it. It does have a lock bar over travel stop and insert so that you have steel on steel here rather than steel on titanium, which is definitely something you want. WE Knife action, which is going to be ceramic bearing, ceramic detent, and they've done a great job. The detent is absolutely dialed in, and that's something that's kind of easy to mess up. With a front flipper, the detent has to be right or they are misery to deal with. But this one is really, really nice. Not only can you flip it with the front flipper, now, by the way, this takes a little bit of practice, and I never have gotten to the point where I could do the index. Oh, there we go. Guess I have gotten to the point where I can do the index finger over the top flip. Doesn't always work reliable for me, but it also finger flicks really nicely and even deploys via thumb, although you kind of got to, again, get the fat of your finger in there and open it up. So in terms of various deployment methods and the comfort and ease of doing that, this knife is wonderful. It really, really did get that aspect extremely right. The action is very smooth. I'll kind of demonstrate that for you. It is drop shut, even though that's a very lightweight blade. And so that's kind of an achievement all on its own. So in terms of action, lockup and deployment, yes. Beautifully, beautifully done once you kind of get the hang of that front flipper, which can take a little bit of practice, but, I think it works just fine. I've had a few messages of people talking about front flippers, and I don't think I'm going to make a whole video about it because honestly, unless I really find something uncomfortable or problematic, open the knife, however you design to open the knife, as long as it works, then great. And so I have no problem with this as a front flipper, as a finger flicker, whatever. I think it's fine. Front flippers, yes, are a bit of a trend right now, but some of them, the front flipper really ties nicely into the design, and I think this is an example. Okay, I think the front flipper works really well here, and if you did it like with a back flipper, which you could do, okay, it's totally possible to do a back flipper on this knife. I just think that the way this one is done, the front flipper is a nice part of the design and goes with the knife overall. How about construction? How is this thing built? First of all, it is very lightweight. So it's small and the components are not huge, overbuilt, heavy-duty stuff, but it's comfortable in hand, okay? And everything functions just the way it should. It's lightweight. There's not a lot of material here. There's no internal milling, so this could actually have been lighter, but I don't think it's needed. Like, it's already 2.8 ounces, so what more could you want? It is backspacer construction, which again often adds weight, but this is so light, there's nothing to complain about. I love the lanyard hole, how it's nicely implemented into that backspacer, or nicely integrated into the backspacer. The pocket clip works really, really well, and it's nicely machined titanium. The anodizing is beautiful on this guy. So let's take a look. I've got the blue, and it's got a stonewash with blue ano, and it is really, really nice. This is one of my favorite finishes. I've got a couple of knives that have a similar finish, and I love it in every knife that I have it on. And WE has done this beautifully. You do have these nice cutouts here. Let's take a look at the show side for a second. You've got the cutouts that do show you the blade, and then this decorative pivot, and I really like both of those touches. From a design standpoint, I think both of these really make the knife stand out. Not only that, but these little cutouts also add some extra traction to the knife, which is very, very much appreciated. In terms of ergonomics, this is the one area that I really thought this knife would fall down. Okay, I've had slim knives before, and generally speaking, I don't like it because they're just not hand-filling enough, okay? This one, though, for some reason, it just feels really right. So, now I'm sure there's probably some of you watching who have even bigger hands than I do. I wear a size large glove. And so if you have maybe even bigger hands than I do, this could be a problem. But I find this to be very hand-filling and very comfortable to use, or to grab for various cutting tasks, okay? Really, really nice. from an ergonomic standpoint. The other thing is the jimping here kind of lands where I need it to land. Now, could it have gone a little bit further? Yeah, I would have liked to have some jimping up here because I often find myself holding the knife like this, but it's not something I'm going to really complain much about. So there we go, guys. I think, you know, construction, everything is great. The fit and finish is excellent. The design, I love. The ergonomics are fine. And so, again, guys, you know, I really tried to find something that I disliked about this knife. Like, there's got to be something really wrong with it. And other than the size, and it's just a little kind of small for me, you know, I prefer something more like this. This is the Swish from Olamic. But other than the size, which is just a little small for me, I love this knife. It is absolutely well done. So let's go ahead and get to some comparisons. Not only does that hopefully give you a good idea of what size you're dealing with here, but it may give you some competitive options as well. And these are knives that if you like this, you might be interested in. So here, more for size comparison is a Para 2. This is the S35VN Para 2. You can see that you got actually getting more cutting edge in a smaller, lighter knife, which, you know, that's pretty darn impressive. Let's go ahead and grab a couple that I think are very comparable. So here is the WE Knives 618. So this is a really slim gentleman's folder, much like this one. And here is a very popular WE knife recently. This is the 614 Ignition. I should have a first impressions video coming on this in the next day or so. In fact, it may post before this video. So if it already has posted, then I guess you can just ignore this. But both of these, I would say, would be somewhat competitive. To be honest, though, from a practical standpoint, the blade is going to be more useful on this than either one of these. Hollow ground blade, pretty good, but not as nice as this. Again, flat ground blade, pretty good, but because of the zero ground tip, again, not as versatile as the Smoke. Okay, both of these are beautiful knives. They're knives that I really like. And I think I would, you know, I already have reviewed this one quite positively, and I still love it. And again, this one is a nice knife, and I think it'll get a pretty positive review as well. But does it come into the same realm as the Boost Blade Smoke? No, it doesn't. They're just not quite there. And so that's where I want to, let's grab a couple of other knives. Whenever you talk about good quality titanium frame locks, I think you have to bring a ZT in. Now this one may not be perfect, but this is sort of a medium size, very nicely done, zero tolerance to 0.562. And if you want something a little more high end, then the Swish, I think, is a pretty nice option. It's still pretty slim. It's still pretty lightweight for a titanium frame lock. A little more blade, a little more handle real estate, and I do like this one just a little bit better. Of course, you're paying more than double the price. So let's finally finish up with the Boost Blade Smoke. This is one of those knives that is exceptional, okay? There are lots of great knives out there, but I think all of us know that sometimes with certain products, you know, lightning has just struck and something really, really beautiful has been done. I think that's the case with the Para 2. I think that's the case with a number of other knives. And certainly this, I think, belongs in that category where everything came together to be just amazing. All right, and it really, really is a phenomenal, phenomenal knife. One of the best knives, not only of 2017, but I think one of the best overall titanium frame locks out there. The value is there. The design is absolutely there. The function, I mean, it's easy to carry. It's got a great blade for cutting tasks. It's, you know, it's fun to fidget with. Everything is really, really just maxed out on this knife. And so for that reason, I absolutely recommend it. If you know, I would go ahead if you're able to. If you find one on the secondary market, go ahead and buy it. Even if you don't, sign up for, you know, the next run, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will talk to you soon.